My name is Amira A.T. Modest. I am a sophomore environmental science and natural resource management major, and today we are outside in the wilderness to talk about some environmental injustice issues that go on within Black communities and minority communities. Hi, editing Amira here. Um, don't mind my video's audio. I actually don't really know what was going on, but you're gonna see me a couple times because there was some oopsies within the process. For Dr. Luntford Project, we were asked to discuss an environmental injustice issue that we think is pretty prevalent to us or how it affects our communities in different ways. Oh, is it me? Basically, with some environmental injustices that affect minority and Black communities, I'll be highlighting mostly the lack of green spaces and natural resources within these communities. Editing Amira's back. I don't know really what happened to my clip, but to talk about some of the lacking resources that or the lack of natural resources and green spaces in minority communities, I mostly will be hiding what leads to low property value, um, high amounts of violence, and also mental health issues amongst the community. Really targeting the main factor being industrialism that has been incorporated into these minority communities due to companies finding easy gateways into being able to purchase land or also buying land from current homeowners and basically kicking them out of their homes to be able to demolish them and build their factories and other things that eventually do diminish the land that these people live on, and also affecting their personal and mental health. With the increase in heat index as well as the increase in greenhouse gas emissions, causing for overall populated areas and tightly condensed areas to be kind of what's the word to say, como se dice, hot. It can lead to a lot of irritation between individuals, especially in minority communities, which in the past 4 years and probably more time has been a prevalent example of the increase in gun violence within these communities around the United States. But also the historical disparities that African Americans and minorities have faced within the past, I don't even know how many years, has caused for a lot of disadvantages and marginalizing within other minority communities. This can lead to redlining, low property costs, less resources within these communities, as in food resources, land resources, even overall healthcare resources within Black and minority communities. One of the main issues that cause a lot of these things is the targeting of factories and large industrialized companies that come into these communities that already have low property costs and land is cheap and decide that they want to add to these areas by building factories next to homes, adding sewage systems or landfills near recreational areas, and overall diminishing the lifestyles of those that live in these communities. One quote that I took from this was, "Take my money and give me 40 acres and a mule." This is one thing that overall time, not a lot of folks back in the day really cared for how they continue to prosper through life, but how they're able to prosper for their families in the future. With any of your money, land is the one thing that can buy you anything, whether it's helping to produce crops, overall having sustainability for your families, and being able to prosper within job area. Not having land, especially in minority communities, already diminishes the effects that have for Black people and minority individuals to be able to prosper within the United States of America. In the session of historical disparities, I wanted to highlight and talk a little bit about the interview that I had with Dr. Brianna Smith. Her and I were able to talk a little bit about what her thought processes are about the lack of natural resources and green spaces in minority communities due to her research that she did within the water system within Tuskegee University, and how some of the non-point source relations caused to landfills and other factoral and industrial incorporations around the Tuskegee, Jefferson County, and Macon County community. Her insight really gave me the opportunity to understand that a lot of what goes on within these communities and a lot of the places that are set are not only it's not exactly the government's fault for not caring about what's going on, but more in the sense of the fault of not being able to maintain the policies that are put in place, and also not really managing and tracking companies correctly who decide to come and inhabit spaces within these communities. This being said, a lot of that administration leave kind of gets put out of hand, and more of the policies that are put in place find kind of wiggle room for companies to um, let's say, dump waste or um, maximize landfills or even get approval for different areas that they want to continue to expand in by being able to outbuy homeowners and elders who live in these more black communities. Now we can get into como se dice solutions. One good way to be able to kind of stop a lot of the minimum access and minimum support within minority communities is creating a sense of community. Having people on your side and being able to support yourself is one way that a lot of people find ways to be able to pursue and prosper. One example of that is simply family. Family is the greatest way of being able to better yourself. Within communities, trying to better a piece of land or an area that a lot of people call home, the best way is to find people who want the same goal as you. Now I reach out to young folks like me. We are the ones that have to start and step up when promoting better ways for our Black and minority communities. That being said, a lot of communities, for example, the beautiful Tuskegee, Alabama, is home to a lot of older generations and a lot of baby boomers and Gen X individuals who are kind of over trying to have their voices heard by either Congress or state officials or even community counseling individuals. With that being said, it's our turn to kind of take that step forward and obviously look at what needs to be fixed and make that stand. Peaceful protests, overall community meetings, and also educating yourself and those around you about proper ways of change. I heavily agree with the thoughts of advocating and educating your community on change and how environmental issues and environmental injustices do happen within communities. I think the best way that can make things negative is not having knowledge about what's going on. So, a big solution for anything is just researching and educating yourself on what is going on and how you can better it, not only for yourself but for your community. This could simply be talking about things that need to be fixed within the community, helping to make less buildings. Helping to rebuild buildings within the community to help increase property value, and not only that, but also putting into your community, trying to help other businesses and people who do need support and help within their families to be able to prosper with their land. Another solution could simply be incorporating green spaces by taking your land and adding it to the public. This adds to the sense of community, but you're also repurposing your own land and creating that sense of education by without having to ask for that extra boost from government officials. Already knowing that access within Black communities is very limited and honestly seen as a joke, taking that initiative and being stood forward is one way that you can put yourself out there, put your community out there, and also press using media. Kind of to break into this conclusion aspect of my overall environmental injustice issue. Um, One of the key takeaways that I wanted to actually kind of make prevalent is honestly getting through to others that the stigma around Black communities and not being able to gain wealth and gain knowledge within these communities is really just a matter of having the access and also having the resources and even just the land to want to move forward. With that being the main focus, um, educating yourselves and educating those around you on some of the issues that really do take away from overall wealth within communities and how certain policies and certain things are put in place to make it harder for Black communities and minority communities to prosper is one of the key ways that we can help break that stigma and also break these effects that are obviously very prevalent in these communities. Another thing is to just continue to create social and financial equity, and also thinking and looking into your urban planning within the community that you live in to even understanding more about like what redlining is, the incorporation of factories around community, point source pollution and other pollutions that can be traced back into minority communities, and also understanding that it's not always the fault of those who live there but the aftermath that those who live there have to suffer through. Thank you. If you're not outside helping your community, what are you doing? And if you don't acknowledge that Black communities are obviously suffering within the natural resource system and not even have the same access to green spaces as you, think that that's okay? Seek help.